Welcome to Main Street Minds with your host, Amish Munshi. This is where industry leaders and seasoned pros share their secrets to success beyond limits. Let's dive in.
Hello and welcome to Main Street Minds. Today we have a very special guest, Julie, over here with us. She has a very diverse, very rich experience in just so many different industries, ranging from public sector, from security, from cybersecurity, as well as from McKinsey, and so many more, right? So without any further delay, I'll open up the floor. And Julie, do you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Julie Chatman, and currently I'm serving as the Deputy Chief Information Security Officer for Finance for the Virginia Information Technologies Agency. It is my first role serving state government. I got my start in cybersecurity in the federal government, specifically the FBI. I had a really great mentor, and they recommended a super interesting project for me. And that project was where I got my start. It was digitizing the FBI's paper-based informant files. So this gives you an idea of how long I've been around.
Yeah, it's interesting. I did meet somebody and they were still like, we still need to digitize stuff that's on paper. And I was like, I thought we were done with that.
Right. Right. This was a while ago, transparently. And I wanted to share this part in my intro because I want people who are not in cyber to understand and who have aspirations to join cyber, how possible it is. I did not start out in cyber. I have risen to the level of being a chief information security officer multiple times now, but I did not start in cyber, right? I started off in medical laboratory science and technology in healthcare in the United States Navy.
Yeah,
That is where I got started.
yeah. That is a long journey from and a lot of experience that you have accumulated, and we would love for you to share some of that with our audience. So what I think one of the things that motivates me the most is like just understanding what were the reasons and for your change in like what shaped your career, like what are some of the factors that led to success?
Yeah, you asked a couple of questions all kind of together, so I'd like to parse it out and answer the pieces in a way that makes sense for my neurology, right? So the first thing is why the change? I will say this, I enjoy science in general. I enjoy all the STEM fields. And I started off in a STEM field, medical technology, heavy in the biology, heavy in the chemistry, and even some physics mixed in. But there are some universal skill sets there across STEM, particularly from medical technology to cybersecurity, which are analysis, problem solving, following certain rules and guidelines. You know, in healthcare, you got a lot of rules and guidelines, right? Certainly with laboratory work. Same thing with cyber. And so those three things were universal. And I have a very hungry brain. I like to solve problems. I like to solve puzzles. You see my Rubik's Cubes here that I'm working on. So medical technology definitely fed that hungry brain, but it got a little bit repetitive. With cyber is something new all the time, all the time, because the bad actors are always going to keep you on your toes. And then as life becomes more digital, protecting data becomes more interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So that's the answer to why the change.
Yeah.
I am never bored a single day in cybersecurity. There's so much for my brain to feed on. And then as far as what makes folks successful in this field, for me, in my journey, I think what made me successful is intellectual curiosity and resilience. You know, the STEM fields haven't always been so open to everybody. So I've had to be pretty resilient for when people are sort of gatekeeping or anything like that, and then just figure out another way to get through the gate, you know? So resilience is definitely important in these kinds of fields if you're not a traditional person that's in the field. But there's room for everyone. And in fact, I feel like cybersecurity is made better by different types of people because the bad actors are all different types of people.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
see?
Exactly. And it's always a cat and mouse game, right? Like I used to do
Yeah.
security and
Yeah. So
it's just,
so I would say to the people who are interested in gatekeeping and saying, hey, this person doesn't seem like a cyber person, I would ask you to open your mind because the criminals' minds are open.
yeah.
And they're using everybody they can, right?
Yeah.
There's no barriers to being a cyber bad actor. So why have barriers with the good guys and gals,
Yeah,
right?
because the security is only as good as the weakest link in the whole chain. So the
That's right.
be at the data layer, issues could be at a personal level, issues could be not even technical sometimes, but we
Yep.
might
Yep.
need a technical solution sometimes for it. So many times, and especially in the private sector, security takes a back seat because it's like it's considered to be an expense till the time it becomes a big issue, and at that time,
Yeah.
why didn't we do it? So how what do you recommend people or companies like how should they approach security?
Well, I think every CISO would say that the same thing that companies should approach security in a forward-thinking way, right? But I think like that's just us talking. I think I think we have to actually do something as a cybersecurity community to move the needle on how people perceive cybersecurity and how people make decisions around cybersecurity from the general user all the way up to the person that approves budgets, all the way up to the CEO or top line leaders. I think it's up to us as a community to shift our culture and the way we communicate. You brought up something very important. You said that it's viewed as a cost center. It is. And the other thing to think about is our KPIs are the reverse of other KPIs. For us, success means that something did not happen,
Yeah,
right? Like that's, you're proving a negative almost.
yeah.
So now you're talking about the importance of being able to influence. Okay. So this means you need to be a linguist.
Mm-hmm.
You're a technology professional, but now you're going to become a linguist. What do I mean by that? You need to learn the language of HR, operations, marketing, legal, and all the lines of business in your organization, whatever they may be, so that when you get into a room with them, you are speaking in their language, not our language.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not going to go to a meeting with the director of finance and talk about immutable storage. That person's not going to understand what I'm talking about. Even if I scream that it's very important and she needs to give me the money, I'm not going to talk like that to her. I am going to tell her about protecting the organization from financial losses.
yeah,
I'm going to tell her about something around saving the organization money. Those are the things she cares about.
yeah,
So I have to figure out how to adjust my language so that he or she can do what I need them to do on behalf of the organization. So
yeah,
you have to be a linguist.
yeah. And I think
Okay?
security is like such a complex thing, right? Because on the one side, we have to like the people in the cyberspace have to like go and request resources, which are generally always limited. Not enough resources are generally allocated of what is needed. And then on the flip side, many times they ask us the delegation of responsibility becomes unlimited. They'll be like, there was an issue with an ECC memory bit, but was it a cybersecurity attack? And how do we even get started with something like that? Like, how do you balance the resources available with the scope of work being asked to do?
I think that in some cases, we as a community take on work that isn't really ours.
Yeah.
I think there is a tendency towards being a martyr. I think there's a tendency towards 100% solutioning,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's kind of like this. I'm just going to think of my home. Um, we've got 3 floors and we have windows on every floor. Of course, the doors are only on the very bottom floor and then the next floor. And if I'm talking security, I'm going to say, well, I need to lock all the windows and doors, all of them.
Yeah.
But is that true? Is that true? The third floor isn't accessible from the ground.
Yeah.
So if I have to make a choice, I would choose to lock the windows and doors on the lower floors.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just giving, that's a very simple example, but I feel like some of us say, no, 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 we have to lock every single window and door because that's our nature. We are
Yeah.
security professionals.
Yeah.
So what I'm suggesting is we need to prioritize and triage. And then here comes the language again. When we are underfunded, when we are understaffed, we should be very clear about what it is we can do and what will remain undone. And we must get the appropriate business leader to sign off and accept the risk, preferably in writing. And when people have to sign something like that, their hand hesitates and they
Yeah.
go, wait a minute, maybe I can get you another 50,000. I have used that method so many times.
Yeah, that's a great tip for everyone in the industry saying how should we approach this?
You've got to be super clear. Don't say, oh, fine, I'll do it. No, don't do that, right? You have to be clear about what you can do with what you have. And
Yeah.
then you have to start jotting it down. And then you have to say, and do you, business leader, accept this risk?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That's a great way to approach it. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about like what your current role entails. Like what are you excited about in your current role?
I'm excited about the opportunity. First of all, I'm pretty new in this role, but I'm excited about the opportunity to learn new things. As I shared, I haven't directly served a state agency, like as part of the state agency. I've done it as a consultant with McKinsey. Um, and this is a different view. I'm actually sitting in and next to and learning like up close about how things work at the state level. And there's a lot of similarities with what I saw in the federal government. Um, I'm excited because I live in Virginia and I'm going to have the opportunity to apply my brainwaves to a challenge that is impacting Virginia citizens around cybersecurity. That's a big honor for me.
Yeah, it just reminds me of all the old days that I did some projects for the state of California, I've done some projects for the federal government, and it's like, man, when we were doing it, we felt like, oh my goodness, this is craziness. This is like, is this really even happening? Are we really doing this thing? Like taking care of like 300 million people?
Yeah, it has a big impact. It has a direct daily life impact.
Yeah,
And although I originally hail from Brooklyn, New York, I've lived in Virginia for such a long time. I consider myself a Virginian now. And I was always like pointed northward. I'm in, Northern Virginia. I've always been pointed towards DC and the Pentagon and,
yeah,
the J. Edgar Hoover building. But I live in Virginia. And this is like so humbling. Like I'm actually making a difference for Virginians.
yeah.
That's big for me. I'm very proud of it, and I'm looking forward to see what I'll be able to accomplish with the amazing team that I'm getting to work with.
Yeah, and a lot of people say that anybody working in the public sector is serving the public, but
That's right.
unless they are really there, you actually feel that in reality, right? Like the
That's
responsibility
right.
is being given to us, the work that is being taking care of the actual deliverables. It's a real public service. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah. I think I've mostly led a life of service, like starting with the U.S. Navy, serving active duty, then serving in the FBI, um, and now serving the state of Virginia this way. It feels really good.
Yeah. So let's say somebody wants to make a career in cyber. Do you think that's like a great, is there like starting entry level jobs as well, or does somebody need like more elaborate experience in different techs or different people skills, and then they can transfer over to cyber?
This is an interesting question, and I actually did a study on this, and I can share a link to the results. But in the time that we have together, what I can say is this. Cybersecurity, a lot of people think of they get a very specific image in their mind when they think of a cybersecurity job or a cybersecurity professional. They imagine somebody wearing a hoodie, kind of, right? Like, um, because life has become so digital, cybersecurity has so many domains, so many domains. It is just like incredible. The breadth of the different types of things you can do, from highly technical to semi-technical, from extremely operational focus to analytics. Just there's so many things: training, compliance, governance, risk management. There's even like cyber law,
Yeah.
right? A couple of years ago, people would simply hire a business lawyer and then hope they were, smart enough to figure out like anything having to do with cyber. But now there's actual cyber lawyers. So
Yeah.
someone could go into cyber, but from a law. So this is just like an incredible field. So my advice would be figure out what makes you tick. Do you like to work on highly technical things? Do you like to teach people? Do you like analysis? Just figure out what you like. And I guarantee you there's an area in cybersecurity that you are going to be able to plug into.
Yeah.
And there's a very specific way to prepare to enter it. And it's not always from the bottom. It's not, you know. I would love to share a link to my results with you, and perhaps you can share it with your audience. It's way more detailed and it goes sector by sector. And there's even a part about hidden ways to enter cybersecurity, which I think your audience will enjoy.
Yeah, I would love to read that. Like, it brings the exact nostalgia of like me doing something that I
Yeah.
used to do before. So it will make me very happy as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so what are there is a lot of current buzz around AI. Along with
Mm.
there was a lot of changes in cyber when we went from on-premise to cloud. Do you see the same amount of transformations happening with AI and cyber?
You know what? This may be contrary to what people may be thinking. With cloud is way easier to understand than AI.
Yeah,
And I think, at first there was a little bit of a resistance to cloud, particularly in the government. And then now everyone's either in the cloud or moving there. It's very easy to understand and people are comfortable.
Mhm.
I think as long as people struggle to understand AI, the adoption will be a little bit slower.
Yeah,
I think some of the popular vendors who do security, have incorporated AI components into their service offering. AI tools that help supplement what humans bring to the table in terms of protecting the enterprise. I don't know of very many organizations that are wholesale replacing security teams with AI. It's just not as trustworthy. People don't understand it. And the other thing I'll say is when it comes to our counterparts in the technology field, the people that build things and ship products, they are not waiting around for security. Okay.
yeah,
So now we're talking about something getting shipped, and then there's going to be some sort of giant AI security kerfuffle, and then
yeah,
everybody will pump the brakes and they'll turn to us as a community and go, well, where were you? Why aren't you advising me about this? What do I need to do?
yeah,
That's what I think is
yeah.
next.
I agree. Yeah, I don't the security is integrated into the adoption of AI yet. I think there may be hopefully nothing major goes wrong once, but there will always be. This is how things mature, right? Something goes wrong, we learn from it, we improve on it, and
Well, think about cloud. Think about how, there was some stuff about, I won't say the vendor, containers. People, bad actors got into the containers. And then it took us getting slapped around a little bit with that. Now we're pretty much, now
yeah,
everyone's like, okay, I know what to do in the cloud. I think we're just going to have to learn a lesson. Hopefully it's not too bad or too
no.
big. But there's an eagerness to use AI, and I get it because I have delved into AI deeply. I'm even doing prompt engineering, right? And it's the opportunities to drive operational efficiencies, the use cases, even in something like healthcare, it's incredible,
Yeah,
right? Like think about this: you go to the doctor, you got your 15-minute appointment. It's only 15 minutes. That's not long. And the doctor's typing on the computer quite a lot.
oh yeah,
I feel like, can you just talk to me and stop typing on that computer? Well, there's a use case with ambient AI. You and
yeah,
the doctor can talk, and the AI can take the notes.
yeah,
That's amazing, right? That has already been launched, and then the healthcare providers are saying, "Hey, it's helping me with my fatigue. It's
yeah,
helping me." So this is an incredible technology with amazing capabilities to make human life better.
yeah.
So people are very eager to ship quickly,
Mhm.
and security people need to catch up and keep up.
Yeah, yeah.
We do.
I totally agree. And I keep thinking about what are the possible things coming up. And I can't help but think quantum computing is going to have a much major impact on cyber. The entire cyber is based on how much time it takes to break an algorithm, right? Break an encryption. Where
Yes, that's
quantum
true.
computing is just throwing that out of the window completely. I think that's going to be a much larger issue.
Well,
Technology.
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that a little bit. I have been delving into that as well because I want to be able to anticipate the timeline, right? And here's what I've managed to uncover. Quantum computing is a concern, right? But AI is the near-term concern. And
Yeah,
the reason I'm saying that is because quantum computing has very specific requirements that are extremely expensive. For
yeah,
example, the energy draw. Another example, the temperature that's needed for the quantum computers to operate. Those are real barriers, okay? Um, I think it's a little bit further away than the AI. The AI is here,
yeah.
right? We have instances of quantum computing, but I think even Microsoft's didn't even become worthwhile until a couple months ago. And they've been working on it for a long time.
Yeah,
Again, the temperatures needed and the amount of power needed is a barrier.
yeah,
When those barriers come down, my heart rate's going to start going up.
yeah, yeah. Because the whole fundamentals of the entire security is going to be challenged.
That is correct. Right now, I don't see the criminals having the cash and the patience to, they're using AI. So they're
Yeah,
using AI
yeah,
already,
yeah.
right? Like, is this a video of me talking right now, or is this AI? I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And I would say at least on a daily basis, I get 3 or 4 chat messages, text messages that is, I'm pretty sure is not a
AI.
real person. I
No.
actually went down a rabbit hole speaking with somebody for 15 days on chat, and they would just not be willing to take my phone call. And they wanted a referral for buying a commercial real estate property in North Carolina. And then I even recommended that I gave their contact info to somebody else I know over there. And then I called him up saying, just speak with that person once on phone before you accept this. And I started thinking like, this is not a real person. And because AI can do that, right? And they can build trust over time and work with
A
multiple people.
story for you. I have a story for you on that. Brad Pitt. You know Brad
Yeah,
Pitt?
yeah,
Famous guy, right? So
yeah,
there was this woman who thought she was in a romantic relationship with Brad Pitt,
yeah.
and the attackers used video. They had Brad in a hospital bed on video, telling her that he appreciates her support and her care. And I mean, this was a 2-year thing. She thought she was in a relationship with Brad Pitt. It started on the phone, it went to video. They even produced a news story where Brad said that he had a secret paramour and kind of
Wow.
hinted that it was her. a news story that they sent directly to her.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just so easy to fall a victim to all of this, right? Like,
It is.
yeah. And like earlier we had all that like spamming, phishing, and it's like becomes such a like there's like no end to the number of things that we have to take care of. And then once AI comes in, it's like a completely all of that is
Yeah.
just looks like a lot more easier to handle than what's
Yeah.
coming up. So yeah,
It's all about fooling the human beings and getting them to reveal passwords, transfer money. So you know what? We're talking about tech right now, but we're really talking about people
oh yeah,
because all the tech is just trying to outsmart our brainware.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's literally all it's trying to do.
Yeah, yeah. The security is always the weakest link, and unfortunately, the weakest link generally is a person in most of the time.
I stopped saying that. I don't say that anymore. When I'm in public and even when I'm in private, I say the people are the strongest cyber defense. That's how I like to say it.
Okay. Yeah, I know I've been out of the industry for like 6 years now, so I'm open to like I would love to learn more about this. So yeah, I
It's
think
just my preference.
that's a
It's how
very
I tend to characterize things. I
yeah,
like to look at possibilities, and I find that when I approach users and people who aren't in cyber saying you're the strongest defense. We
hmm.
need you,
Oh
you
yeah,
know? So
yeah,
I don't tend to because I think in the cyber community we do like to talk in FUD. It's called fear, uncertainty, and doubt. We like to communicate in those terms. I've gotten the most results, budget, personnel, regard, um, when I communicate in the opposite way.
yeah, yeah. That's a very good way of looking at this. So thanks for helping me look at it in a new way. Yeah. So going forward, like what are some of the things that would excite you for the next 5 to 10 years? Like what do you see yourself doing?
I would love to continue making a difference in organizations that need my help.
Hmm.
Um, I would also like to make a difference in the lives of people who either want to become cybersecurity professionals or are already cybersecurity professionals and need some help navigating their career. I've already started working on that. Hopefully, you're okay with me mentioning that I do coach people in cybersecurity. Most recently, I helped someone turn their 14-page resume into a 3-page masterpiece.
Okay.
And 1 week later, they have an interview with Amazon.
Nice.
So, I have converted 3 firefighters to SOC analysts because firefighting is exactly like incident
Yeah.
response.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it's
So,
sometimes an
um,
emergency.
yes, I love helping people navigate their career. So I do have a coaching practice around that. And I'm also mentoring senior cybersecurity program students at Kennesaw University as part of the capstone course. I'm one of the industry mentors, and I find great satisfaction in just helping people in their cyber career. It's something that I enjoy, especially since I'm senior now and I've done a lot of it. I've transferred into cyber from somewhere else.
Yeah.
I've done GRC, I've done incident response, I've been a consultant, I've done cyber strategy for M&A work. Um, I've done crisis, there's so many things that I've done and so many ways I can help. But also there's the human side where, someone can be highly technical but still struggle in their career and I can help them with those skills,
Yeah.
the other skills that you need.
And exactly, like the ability, we can get stuck, especially in cyber, we can get stuck with not being able to grow. Just and some small little skills, and just a little bit of mentorship and
Yeah,
direction goes a very long way.
that's
Thank you
it.
for providing that. What's the best way somebody can reach you if they need help around cyber?
Well, what they can do is visit my website, which is cyberpathcoaching.com.
Mhm.
They can also email me at info@cyberpathcoaching.com or Julie at cyberpathcoaching.com.
Sweet.
You can also find me on LinkedIn, but I realize that if people don't have LinkedIn Premium, they can't message other people. So I just wanted to share my email address because
Yeah,
of that.
yeah. Thanks for doing that. So,
Of course.
sometimes time just flies, and we are almost at the end of this recording. But is
Yeah.
there any other final thoughts that you would like to share with the audience?
Yeah, I would like to share that cyber is such an exciting field. So if you're on the fence about joining, please become part of the cyber community. There is a spot for you, regardless of what your natural skills and abilities are. There is something in cyber for you. If you are already a cyber professional, please think about the ways that you can be more welcoming to people who want to join our community. We have trouble keeping up with the bad actors. So we need all the brains we can get, all the brain waves that we can get in the community. Let's make it an open community. The other thing is, I know that sometimes some of the new technology is hype, and we're all very busy as cybersecurity folks. But please know that AI is not hype. And go ahead and start getting out there and playing around with it and start learning it, because our brethren in technology, the software engineers, the developers, and the product people, they're just going to start shipping the products and they're just going to leave us in the dust. And we're not going to be able to protect them. And
Yeah,
we love protecting. So let's go ahead and open our minds and start learning about AI, with keeping an eye on quantum as well, but AI in the near term so that we can do our best for our organizations.
yeah. Thanks. That's a great way to conclude the episode. And thanks for joining today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity. It was a lot of fun talking to you.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Julie.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Main Street Minds. Want to share your journey with our audience? Head over to mainstreetmindspodcast.com/guest to apply.